Eli had agreed to the roommate situation for one simple reason. Rent in the city was impossible. When the government housing office said the new program would match compatible residents for cultural exchange, he imagined a quiet foreign student or maybe a scientist who never left their room. He did not imagine someone from another planet standing in his kitchen at 6 a.m, calmly reorganizing the spice rack by molecular density. Kale stood tall and still, his skin a soft gray blue that reflected the light in strange ways, like polished stone under water. His eyes were too focused, too observant, as if the world around him was a puzzle that needed solving. He wore human clothes now, simple jeans and a loose shirt, but something about the way he stood made it clear he was not from Earth. Eli leaned against the doorframe, half awake, holding a mug of coffee that had already gone cold. He watched Kale move jars from one shelf to another with extreme care. "You know," Eli said, voice rough with sleep. "You didn't have to start redecorating on day one." Kale turned slowly. He smiled, but it was the kind of smile that looked practiced rather than natural. "This is not decoration. This is optimization."
"That sounds worse,"
Eli muttered. Kale tilted his head.
"Your species uses humor when uncomfortable."
"I have recorded this." Eli sighed and rubbed his face.
This was already going to be a long month. Kyle stepped closer and looked at him carefully, eyes scanning his posture, his expression, even the way he held the mug.
"You appear tired. You slept for 6 hours and 11 minutes.
"This is below your optimal rest cycle."
"You watched me sleep?" Eli asked.
"I listened," Kale replied. "Your breathing pattern changed at predictable intervals." "Great," Eli said flatly.
I live with a space creep. Kale considered this. Creep is a negative social label.
"I will avoid behaviors that reinforce it."
"That would be nice." They stood in silence for a moment. Outside, traffic hummed, and the city slowly woke up. Eli took a sip of coffee and made a face. Cold. Kale suddenly straightened, as if remembering something important.
I have not yet delivered the primary statement. Eli raised an eyebrow.
"Primary statement?" "Yes." Kale clasped his hands together. "Ellie Carter, according to interstellar compatibility law and my species' predictive systems, you and I are perfectly matched." The words hung in the air. Eli blinked once, then twice. "I'm sorry, what?" "Perfectly matched," Kale repeated, clearly pleased with his pronunciation. "In temperament, cognitive flexibility, emotional variance, and long-term cohabitation success."
Eli laughed.
He couldn't help it. It burst out of him, loud and sudden, echoing in the small kitchen.
"Oh, wow," he said, shaking his head. "Okay. That's funny. Is that like an alien icebreaker?" "This is not humor," Gale said. "It is a conclusion."
"Right," Eli replied. "Well, your conclusion is wrong. You literally met me yesterday." Kale nodded. Time is not a requirement for accurate modeling. "That's also concerning." Kale stepped closer again, his tone calm and confident. "Your government agreed to the exchange because humans are difficult to predict. You produce inconsistent data. My assignment is to study that inconsistency through direct living experience."
"So I'm an experiment," Eli said.
"You are a data partner," Kale corrected. "A highly compatible one." Eli set his mug down a little too hard.
"Look, Kale, I don't know how things work where you're from, but humans don't like being told who they're matched with, especially by a computer."
"Or an alien." Kale frowned slightly.
"You display resistance to optimization. This is common among humans. Because optimization isn't the same as living," Eli snapped, then paused.
He took a breath. "Sorry."
"That was rude."
Kyle nodded again. "Apology accepted. Emotional fluctuation? Noted. Eli stared at him. Do you ever stop noting things? No. Eli groaned and leaned back against the counter.
This is a misunderstanding. You're my roommate.
We don't. Whatever this is. Kyle watched him carefully. Your discomfort level has increased, but your voice volume suggests you are attempting calm communication. This aligns with compatibility marker 7. Stop, Eli said.
Just stop saying that.
Kale hesitated. For the first time, he seemed unsure. Should I withhold accurate information? Yes, Eli said firmly, especially when it's about my life. Kale nodded slowly. Understood. I will delay further declarations. Good. They spent the rest of the morning in an awkward truce. Kale prepared food that was technically breakfast, but tasted like nothing Eli had ever eaten. Eli tried to explain coffee culture, which Kale recorded as ritualized chemical dependency with social bonding benefits. Despite himself, Eli found some of Kale's questions interesting. Kyle wanted to know why humans enjoyed fiction even when it made them sad. Why they kept objects with no practical value. Why they smiled at strangers. 'Cause not everything has to be useful, Eli said at one point. Kale wrote that down. Later, as Ellie got ready for work, he noticed Kale standing by the window, staring out at the city with quiet wonder. It's loud, Kale said. Unordered, inefficient, and, Eli asked, and alive, Kale added after a pause. Eli smiled slightly. Yeah, that's kind of our thing. When Eli left for the day, he felt strangely unsettled. Not scared, not angry, just noticed, like someone had looked at his life and seen patterns he didn't know were there. Kale spent the day alone in the apartment recording observations. Eli's books showed curiosity without specialization. His music preferences shifted by mood, not logic. His messages to friends were irregular, but emotionally rich. By the time Eli returned that evening, tired and sore, Kal-El was waiting.
I have updated my confidence level,
Kal said.
Ellie dropped his bag. About what? Our match,
Kale replied. Eli closed his eyes.
Kale, it has increased,
Kale finished.
Eli opened his eyes again, equal parts annoyed and amused.
You are unbelievable.
Kale tilted his head.
You say this often? It appears to mean unexpected but interesting?
Eli laughed quietly. You know what? Fine. Believe whatever you want. Just don't try to plan my life.
Kyle nodded. I will not plan.
I will observe. Eli pointed at him.
That's still creepy. Duly noted.
As Eli headed to his room, he paused.
Hey, Kale? Yes. If your system is so perfect, what happens if it's wrong? Kale was silent for a long moment. Then he said very softly, That has never occurred. Eli felt a strange chill, not of fear, but of curiosity. Behind him, Kale watched, recording nothing at all. Eli told himself he would ignore it. He told himself that Kale's words from the night before were just strange alien confidence mixed with bad timing. Humans said weird things all the time. This was just a bigger version of that. A much taller, blue-gray version with very serious eyes. Still, when Eli woke up the next morning, he felt watched again, not in a dangerous way, more like the feeling of being carefully noticed. He opened his bedroom door and almost walked straight into Kale, who was standing in the hallway, completely still. Eli jumped.
Do you ever move normally? I was waiting, Kale said, for you to wake?
Your sleep cycle ended 4 minutes earlier than yesterday. This suggests adaptation.
Eli stared at him. Or it suggests I had a weird dream. Did I appear in it? Kale asked. Eli paused. No.
Kale nodded. Then adaptation remains the stronger explanation. Eli sighed and walked past him toward the bathroom.
You know, humans don't like being analyzed before breakfast. I have learned this, Kale said, following him.
However, humans also dislike inefficiency, hunger, and silence. These dislikes often conflict. Eli looked at him through the mirror while brushing his teeth. You're not wrong, but that doesn't mean you should say it out loud.
Kale considered that. Your species prefers emotional comfort over factual clarity. Sometimes, Eli said around toothpaste foam, and sometimes we just want a quiet morning. Kale nodded again.
I will attempt quiet. He stood there silently for exactly 3 seconds. Your toothpaste contains a compound that weakens. Kale. Quiet. Breakfast passed with less talking, though Kale's eyes followed Eli constantly. Not staring exactly, but observing. Like Eli was a moving story that Kale didn't want to miss.
Eli grabbed his jacket and keys. I'm heading out.
Try not to reorganize my entire life while I'm gone.
I will only reorganize the kitchen again,
Kale said.
Your drawer system is emotionally inconsistent. That's called personality,
Eli replied.
Try respecting it. I am studying it, Kale said seriously. Work was busy enough to distract Eli for a few hours, but not enough to stop his thoughts from drifting back to the apartment.
To Kale. To the strange confidence in his voice when he said, perfectly matched, like gravity or math. At lunch, Eli found himself telling his coworker Maya about the exchange program. An alien roommate? She said, eyes wide. That's amazing.
It's exhausting, Eli replied. Is he hot?
Eli choked on his drink. That is not the point. That's a yes, Maya said, grinning. He's not. He didn't know how to finish that sentence. He's different. Maya leaned forward.
Does he do the mysterious quiet thing? Yes. And look at you like he's solving a puzzle?
Yes. Eli, she said gently, that's how half the city falls in love. Eli shook his head. No.
He literally said we're perfectly matched by alien law. Maya blinked.
Okay, that's a little intense. Thank you. When Eli got home that evening, the apartment smelled different. Not bad, just unfamiliar. Kale stood in the kitchen, carefully stirring something in a pot. I made dinner, he said. Eli froze.
You cooked? Yes, I studied your dietary preferences.
You studied them? I reviewed your grocery receipts, emotional reactions to food, and online searches.
That's a lot of effort, Eli said slowly. Kale looked pleased.
Effort indicates investment. That doesn't always mean what you think it means. They ate together. The food was surprisingly good.
Too good. This is amazing, Eli admitted.
How did you even know how to make this? I did not, Kale said. I calculated probabilities and adjusted during the process.
Eli smiled despite himself.
You know humans call that learning. Kale paused. Then I am learning you. The words were simple, but something about the way he said them made Eli's chest feel tight. After dinner, Eli sat on the couch while Kale sat across from him, legs folded in a way that looked uncomfortable but apparently wasn't. I have a question, Kale said. Eli tensed. That usually means something weird is coming. Humans often say they do not want certainty, Kale continued.
Yet they seek reassurance. This appears contradictory. It's not, Eli said.
We want reassurance without losing choice. Kale frowned slightly. Explain. Eli leaned back.
Okay. Imagine someone tells you your entire future is decided.
Even if it's a good future, it stops being yours. Kale was quiet for a long moment. My species finds comfort in decided outcomes. Yeah, Eli said softly. Humans don't. Kale looked down at his hands. When I say we are perfectly matched, it causes you distress. Yes, Eli said honestly. Because it feels like you're taking something away from me. Kale nodded slowly. That was not my intention. I know, Eli said, but intention isn't everything. That night, Eli noticed something new. Kale didn't stand outside his room. He didn't listen. He didn't ask questions. He respected the door. Days passed. Kale learned when to speak and when not to. He learned sarcasm, though he still struggled to use it correctly. He learned that humans lied to themselves more than others, and that they called it hope. Eli learned things too. He learned that Kale's people communicated with brutal honesty, not cruelty. He learned that Kale felt emotions deeply, but had no language for them. He learned that being observed didn't always mean being judged. One evening, Eli came home shaken. A project at work had failed, and he couldn't stop thinking about it.
Kale noticed immediately. You are distressed, Kale said.
I'm fine, Eli replied automatically. That statement conflicts with your body language, Kale said gently.
Eli dropped his bag and sat down heavily. I messed up. Kale sat beside him, closer than usual.
Describe the error. I trusted something I shouldn't have, Eli said. I thought it would work out.
Kale nodded.
Your species often trusts uncertainty.
Yeah, Eli said bitterly. And sometimes it hurts. Kale was quiet. Then he said, despite the failure, your attempt increased long-term growth probability. Eli looked at him. You don't always have to make it a statistic. I know, Kale said. I am trying something else. He hesitated, then placed a hand on the couch between them. Not touching. Just there. I am...
Sorry that you are in pain, Kale said slowly. I do not have a model for this moment, but I wish to stay.
Eli swallowed. That's enough. Later that night, Kale recorded his observations.
Humans did not seek perfect outcomes. They sought meaning, choice, shared moments that could not be predicted. He paused over one data point. Eli Carter increased Kale's own uncertainty. Instead of correcting it, Kale marked the sensation as important. For the first time since arriving on Earth, Kale did not upload his full report to the Coalition. He waited. And for reasons he could not calculate, that felt right. Kale began to notice something unusual about himself. It happened slowly, in small moments that did not seem important at first. He paused before speaking more often. He chose silence, even when data suggested speech. He replayed conversations in his mind, not to correct them, but to understand how they felt. This was not efficient, and yet it felt necessary. Eli noticed the change too, though he could not have explained it clearly. Kale still observed him, still analyzed patterns, but there was a softness to it now. Less like a scanner, more like attention. One evening, Eli came home late. The city air clung to him, heavy and tired. He dropped his keys on the table and let out a long breath. Kyle looked up from the couch.
Your day extended beyond expected duration.
Yeah, Ellie said. Everything did. Kale stood.
Do you want to talk? Eli hesitated. Then he shook his head. Not yet. Kale nodded. Then I will wait. Eli paused halfway to his room. That answer surprised him. You don't need to wait, Eli said. You can do your thing. This is my thing, Kale replied simply. Eli stared at him for a second, then smiled faintly and went to his room. Later that night, Eli sat on his bed, scrolling through messages he didn't have the energy to answer. His mind kept drifting back to Kale's calm voice, to the way he had said, "Then I will wait," like it mattered. Humans were strange like that. They found comfort in small choices. In the living room, Cale stood perfectly still, listening to the apartment. He could hear Eli's breathing through the walls, not to analyze, just to know he was there. The coalition message arrived the next morning. Cale recognized the signal instantly. Clean.
Precise. Demanding.
He waited until Eli left for work before opening it. The message unfolded in structured light, filling the air with shifting symbols. The coalition's words were direct. Progress report overdue. Behavioral deviation detected. Explain delay. Cale felt something unfamiliar tighten inside his chest. He began to compose a response. Data summaries. Compatibility metrics. Human unpredictability charts. Then he stopped. The numbers were accurate, but they felt incomplete. Cal closed the message without sending it. Instead, he sat at the table and replayed recent events. Eli laughing at a bad joke. Eli choosing to fail rather than stay safe. Eli offering comfort without solution. These moments did not fit into any model Cale knew. Later that day, Eli worked from home. His company allowed flexible hours, and he had taken advantage of that more often lately. Cale watched as Eli moved around the apartment, muttering to himself, making coffee too strong, forgetting it on the counter. "You do that often?" Cale said. "Do what?" Eli asked.
Forget things you care about,
Cale replied. Eli snorted. "Welcome to being human." Kyle tilted his head. "Why do you accept this flaw?"
because fixing it completely would change who I am,
Eli said. Cale processed that slowly. He had spent his entire life fixing flaws. That afternoon, L.A. grew frustrated with his work. He closed his laptop harder than necessary and leaned back, staring at the ceiling. "I hate not knowing if I'm doing the right thing." Eli said aloud. Cale looked at him. "You frequently proceed without certainty."
Yeah,
Eli said.
but it still scares me.
Cale stepped closer. "On my world, certainty removes fear."
And removes freedom,
Eli said. Cale nodded. "You have said this before?" "And?" Ellie asked. "And I am beginning to understand why you choose it anyway." Eli looked at him, surprised. "You are?" "Yes," Cale said.
Uncertainty allows growth. It allows
Surprise. Eli smiled. "Careful. You're starting to sound human." Cale did not answer right away. That night, Cale dreamed. This had never happened before. His species did not dream. They entered rest states, organized memory, optimized thought. But this was different. In the dream, Cale stood in the city at night. Lights blurred together. Sounds overlapped without pattern. Eli walked beside him, talking about nothing important. Cale felt no need to record it. He woke suddenly, heart racing, breath uneven. He sat up, confused. Dreaming was listed in human neurological data as a side effect of emotional processing. Paul did not understand how he had accessed it. The next day, Eli noticed Call staring into space.
"You okay?" Eli asked. "Yes," Cale replied, then hesitated.
"I experienced a mental event." "That sounds serious." "I dreamed," Cale said. Eli froze.
You dreamed? Yes, that's...
"Huge," Eli said softly. "How do you feel?" Cale searched for the right word. "Unstable, curious, not displeased." Eli smiled. "Congrats. That means something in your brain changed." Cale considered that. Was it?
You... What?
Eli asked.
In the dream.
Yeah. Cal nodded.
That aligns with recent data. Cale, Eli said gently, you don't have to analyze everything you feel. Kale looked at him.
I do not know how not to. Then learn, Eli said.
Like you learned cooking. Kale was quiet for a long time after that. Later, the coalition sent another message. This one was sharper. Noncompliance confirmed. Prepare justification. Human influence suspected. Kale's hands shook as he read it. Human influence. He thought of Eli again, of choice, of refusal to be optimized. For the first time, Kale felt fear. Not fear of punishment. Fear of losing something. Undefined. That evening, Kyle told Eli the truth. Not everything, but enough.
My people expect results, Kyle said. They expect humans to be classified.
Controlled. Protected from their own unpredictability. And? Ellie asked carefully. And you resist that? Kale said. Simply by being yourself. Eli frowned. Is that bad? For them, Kale said.
Yes? And for you?
Kale met his eyes. I do not know. They sat together in silence.
You don't owe anyone my data, Eli said finally. I know, Kale replied.
Then, what do you want to do? Eli asked. Kyle opened his mouth. No answer came. That night, Kyle made a decision. He sent a partial report. Humans, non-deterministic. Predictive modeling, unreliable. Forced optimization, harmful to development. He omitted Eli's name. He omitted his own uncertainty. The coalition's response came quickly. Classification pending. Observation extended. Do not interfere. Kale read the message twice. Then, he deleted it. Eli watched him do it. You sure? Eli asked.
No, Kale said honestly. But I am choosing.
Eli smiled. Pride and worry mixed together.
That's the most human thing you've said yet. Kale felt something warm settle inside him. Not certainty.
Not perfection, but connection. And for the first time, that felt better than being right.
After Kale deleted the coalition message, the apartment felt different.
Not quieter, not louder, heavier. Eli felt it the next morning when he woke up. The air seemed thick, like something important was waiting to happen but did not yet know how. Kale stood by the window, watching the city wake. He did not turn when Eli entered the room. You didn't sleep, Eli said.
I rested,
Kale replied.
But my thoughts did not organize.
Eli made coffee and leaned against the counter.
That happens to humans all the time?
Yes, Kale said softly. That is why it concerns me.
They ate in silence.
Not awkward silence. Careful silence. Kyle was no longer just observing Eli. He was listening in a way that made Eli feel seen, not measured. Later that day, Eli worked from home again. He tried to focus, but his attention kept drifting. He caught Kale watching him more than once, expression thoughtful, almost troubled. Finally, Eli closed his laptop.
Okay, talk to me.
Kale looked startled. About what? About whatever is clearly eating you alive, Eli said. Kale sat across from him. He folded his hands, then unfolded them again. My people contacted me again, Kale said. Eli's chest tightened.
What do they want?
Resolution, Kale replied. They believe the matching process was successful. Eli let out a short laugh. Of course they do. They expect me to proceed, Kale continued, to finalize the outcome. Eli's smile faded. What does that mean? It means I must state that our compatibility is confirmed, Kale said, and that further human autonomy adjustments may be recommended. Eli went very still.
Autonomy adjustments, yes. That sounds like control, Eli said quietly.
It is framed as protection, Kale said.
They believe humans require guidance. Eli stood up and began pacing. We don't. We make mistakes, sure, but that's how we grow. You can't just decide what's best for someone else.
I know,
Kale said. Eli stopped pacing.
Do you? Kale met his eyes. I do now.
Eli exhaled slowly.
So what happens if you say no? Kale hesitated. My position would be...
Reconsidered.
That's alien for bad, isn't it?
Yes, Kale said. Very. Eli ran a hand through his hair. I don't want you to get hurt because of me. Kale stood.
This is not because of you. It is because of choice. That doesn't make it easier, Eli said.
Ellie, when I arrived here, I believed perfection was the highest goal. Stability. Accuracy. No wasted motion. And now? Eli asked. And now I see that your species survives because you refuse to be reduced. Kale said. You are inefficient, emotional, and unpredictable.
Eli snorted weakly.
Thanks. And yet, Kale continued, you create meaning where none is guaranteed. You choose each other without certainty. You fail and still continue. He placed a hand over his chest. This changes something in me? Eli's voice softened. You don't have to choose us over your people.
I am not choosing against them, Kale said.
I am choosing myself. That night, the coalition arrived. Not physically, not dramatically. Their presence filled the apartment, like pressure. Light bent slightly. The air hummed with controlled power. Eli froze. Kyle? I did not invite them, Kyle said calmly.
But they do not require permission.
A voice filled the room, not loud. Certain. Kale of the Seventh Order. Status deviation confirmed. Explain. Kale stood tall. I am fulfilling my role. Your role is observation, the voice replied, not contamination. Eli felt anger rise in his chest. He's not contaminated, he's thinking.
The presence shifted. Human input not requested.
Kale raised a hand slightly, a subtle gesture that somehow commanded attention. You sent me to study unpredictability.
I have done so. Results incomplete, the voice said.
No, Kale replied. They are simply inconvenient. Silence followed. Kale continued. Humans cannot be optimized without being diminished. Their strength lies in refusal, in choice, in contradiction. Your conclusion is emotional, the voice said.
Yes,
Kale said.
that is the point.
Eli watched, heart pounding.
Kale, I must finish, Kale said quietly.
He faced the presence fully. The matching protocol failed, not because the human resisted, because the protocol itself is flawed.
The air vibrated. This assertion challenges coalition doctrine.
It should, Kale said. Your certainty blinds you.
Humans are not broken versions of us. They are something else.
Eli swallowed hard. What happens now? He asked.
The presence paused. For the first time, uncertainty entered its tone. Human classification will be revised. Observation will continue without intervention. And Kale? Ellie asked. The voice hesitated. Subject KL is reassigned. KL closed his eyes. Eli stepped forward. To where? Undefined. The presence began to fade. Kyle opened his eyes. Wait! The light stilled. I was matched to Eli Carter, Kale said.
Not as a result, as a mistake.
And in that mistake I learned. Silence. Stretched. Finally, the voice spoke again. Non-deterministic exposure. Acknowledged. Status. Voluntary residency approved. The pressure lifted. The light vanished. The apartment returned to normal. Eli's knees gave out, and he sat heavily on the couch.
I think I just argued with space bureaucracy.
Kale exhaled shakily. You did well. Eli laughed, breathless. I didn't do anything. You stood. Kale said, That matters. They sat together, exhaustion settling in. So, Eli said after a while.
What does voluntary residency mean? Kale looked at him. It means I may stay.
Or leave. By choice. Eli nodded. Good. Kale turned to him.
Earlier, I said we were perfectly matched. Eli stiffened slightly. Yeah, I was wrong, Kale said.
Eli frowned. You were? Yes, Kale replied.
There is no perfect match. Only continuous decision.
Eli smiled, warmth spreading through him. That's more my speed.
That's more my speed? Kale hesitated, then asked, May I ask something
Human? Sure, Eli said. Do you wish me to stay? Kale asked.
Not because data suggests it, but because you want it.
Eli didn't answer right away. Then he said very clearly, Yes. Kale felt something settle into place, not certainty. Belonging. And for the first time, neither of them needed a system to explain it. The days after the coalition left felt strangely quiet, not empty. Just calm in a way Eli was not used to. The apartment returned to its usual sounds. The hum of the fridge, distant traffic, the soft clink of dishes. But something had changed underneath it all. Choice now lived there. Kale noticed it immediately. The pressure that had always existed at the back of his mind was gone. No countdowns, no hidden expectations, no constant demand to prove correctness. He woke up later than usual on the first morning after the decision. Not because his rest cycle required it, but because he wanted to stay still a little longer. That alone felt strange. Eli was already awake, sitting at the table with his laptop closed, staring out the window.
You're up early,
Kale said. Ellie shrugged, couldn't sleep. Kale sat across from him.
Because of yesterday?
Yeah, Eli said honestly.
Because of everything.
Kale nodded. Me too. They shared a quiet smile. Life did not suddenly become perfect. Eli still struggled at work. Kale still misunderstood human idioms. The world did not pause to celebrate a single alien choosing to stay, but something subtle spread outward. Kale began receiving messages from other observers. Short, curious, careful, human resistance patterns unclear. Emotional variables increasing. Explain. Kyle answered differently now. Humans are not resistant.
They are selective. Some observers pushed back.
Others listened. Eli noticed changes too. News articles started appearing about revised coalition guidelines. Less talk of correction, more talk of coexistence. Human governments were cautious but hopeful.
They're learning, Eli said one evening. Yes, Kale replied.
Slowly, like humans, Eli laughed.
Careful, that's almost an insult. Kale smiled, and this time it wasn't practiced.
One night, Eli came home exhausted. He dropped his bag, kicked off his shoes, and sat heavily on the floor.
Rough day?
Kale asked. Yeah, Eli said. But not the worst. Kale sat beside him. Not too close.
Not too far. Do you regret staying? Eli asked quietly.
Kale thought about it. Really thought.
I regret nothing, he said. I experience uncertainty.
Fear, desire, These are new, but they are mine. Ellie nodded.
Welcome to the club!
Kale hesitated.
There is something else. What?
My people will continue to observe, Kale said. Some will try to understand. Some will not.
That's okay, Eli said. Humans argue with each other all the time.
Kale considered that. Then perhaps disagreement is not failure. Nope, Eli said. It's just proof we're alive. Weeks passed. Kale stopped recording everything. He still noticed patterns, but he no longer felt the need to capture them. Some moments were meant to exist only once. Like the time Eli burned dinner and laughed instead of fixing it. Like the way Kale learned to enjoy music without analyzing it. Like the quiet evenings where neither of them spoke, and it was enough. One afternoon, Eli received a message from Maya. So...
Still living with the alien? Eli smiled as he typed back.
Yeah, he's staying.
Is it weird? Eli glanced at Kale, who was carefully trying to fold a blanket the wrong way. Yeah, Eli typed. But it's good weird. That night, Kale sat alone on the balcony, looking at the stars. Eli joined him, carrying 2 cups of coffee. Still can't believe how many there are, Eli said. Each one represents a potential story, Kale replied.
Most of them won't ever meet us,
Eli said. Kale nodded.
and yet we matter to each other.
Eli looked at him. You've gotten better at this.
I have been practicing,
Kale said. There was a pause.
Kale? Eli said. Yes? You don't have to stay forever, Eli said.
I don't want you to feel trapped. Kale met his eyes. I know. And? Eli asked.
And I am not staying because I am matched, Kale said. I am staying because I choose you.
Eli's throat tightened. Good. Somewhere far away, coalition systems updated their models. Humans, non-deterministic. Cooperation possible only through consent. Autonomy essential. It was not a warning. It was a note of respect. Back on Earth, Eli and Kale continued living their small, important life. Not perfectly. Not predictably, but together. And in that choice, humanity quietly proved something the universe had never fully understood before. That perfection was overrated. But choosing each other, again and again, was powerful enough to change the stars.